Good morning, game makers. This is a take two. I recorded a video, and apparently, my worst fears, it did not have any sound. So I've made some changes to some things that I want you to know about, and I want to explain why I made these changes. So one of the students had asked me to set up a formation of planes, enemies coming in. They wanted to know if it was possible to have some control over the shape or organization as you generate those enemies, and the answer is, of course, yes. If you can imagine it, you can do it in GameMaker. But to add that to my alarm in the object control would have made my alarm even longer, ridiculously long. So what I decided to do is I decided to take advantage of these things called scripts. And scripts are blocks of code that can be run by any object in your game. So the basic enemy could run the code in this script. Enemy 4, I guess in theory, an enemy bullet could spawn random enemies because scripts don't belong to any one instance. So let me just show you what I've done here. So I've changed my object control alarm, and it's much shorter. You'll notice. I'm going to create some space here. I'm going to get rid of those menus, and I'm going to maximize this, and you can see now there's only what is it, six action. So it's going to randomize. It is going to reset the alarm. I did keep that in the alarm event, and then it's going to declare a different temporary variable. Remember, temporary variable is only kept in memory until it gets to the bottom here, and then it's forgotten. And I named it random roll, and it could be a 0, 1, or 2. Notice the importance of the I here. If I just had random roll equal random 2, I could get a float like 1.34, 2.57. Well, actually, I couldn't in this case because 2 is the higher number, but you get the idea. And random roll would never equal 1. It would never equal 0 or never equal 2, or at least the probability would be extremely astronomically low. So it is important that you have the I random here to make sure you get a whole number. And you can see that I've had some actions here, execute script. An execute script will basically run whatever code is in the specified script. So I have two different scripts here, and let's take a look at them. So the random generate enemy is just all of that stuff that I used before. So it rolls a random number from 0 to 4, and based on the outcome, it creates the random enemy. And because it's in a script, if I wanted to use this somewhere else, I wouldn't have to copy all of these actions over. I can just say, execute this script. Basic enemy wave creates an enemy in the middle of the room, and then it creates two partner enemies, one to the left, 64 pixels and a little bit further back, and one to the right, 64 pixels and a little bit further back. So these scripts are excellent ways of keep managing your instructions in smaller chunks instead of having super large events. So let me go back to the control. You can see I do want there to be a higher probability of generating the basic enemy wave. Um, and so there's 66% of the time I will create that, 33% of the time I will get the random generation of an enemy. And then I want to show you one more thing I did real fast. And Object Bullet 2, I did a pretty poor job of coding that. In fact, it waited all the way until the end to just decide if it had turned directions enough time to be destroyed, which makes the computer work a lot of extra that it didn't need to. So up here, the first thing I do when this alarm triggers is check to see how many times it's changed directions, and if it's changed directions 3 times, it destroys itself without doing this unnecessary work. Nobody likes to do work for nothing. Um, how many times have we done something and realized later that it was a waste of time? So this will help your computer avoid slowdowns, having a bad frames per second, making your computer work extra hard. It's just good programming to go back and revise and review your code to make sure that it's running optimally. You can see that using these scripts will not really affect the game too much. Um, it'll affect my programming and my readability. And you can see as I play, I do get some random waves of enemies that come in formation. Um, and a little bit less of the time, I get the random enemy that comes into the screen. So scripts are excellent. I advise you to use them whenever possible because it makes your code a lot more manageable in a lot of different great ways. All right, so quiz tomorrow. All this information will be on there. I hope you do well. Don't let me down. All right, thanks for watching.